Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Just before we get into today's video, I'd just like to say that we are announcing a new format. If you go along to the channel page, and you will see on the playlist a thing called 3-Minute Rants. It's a similar format. I don't go down into the corner and comment on a particular article. We pick a story of the day, and I just launch myself in for exactly 3 minutes. And out. You know, there won't be pictures and things like that. We've put the first one up today, and if you do like it, do hit that subscribe button. We're just thinking a short form like that is the sort of thing that people on the go and they're sitting there and it's just bang, in, out, go. I get to have a rant. It releases all the pent-up frustration I have, and hopefully you'll agree with our views. We try to be mainstream and normal. We just rally still against the woke and the stupid. But do go along, give it a look, and as I say, hit the subscribe button if you can. Now on with the video. How wrong and misguided do your policies have to be? Everyone tells you they're wrong, everyone tells you they're damaging, everyone tells you these will hurt women. And still you press on in your single-minded obsession. Such is the SNP with their gender recognition laws. In fact, they're so bad that, unbelievably for a Marxist organisation, the United Nations are getting involved and saying that these are very, very bad thought out laws that will open the door to terrible things happening to women. The United Nations say that her policies are that bad. It's unbelievable. Let's look at this report. So, UN official warns that the SNP's gender reforms will open the door to very bad people intent on abusing women by accessing female safe spaces. The UN Special Rapporteur on V against women and girls slams the SNP's plan. Reem Asylum launched a blistering attack on the gender recognition bill, and she raised concerns on the safeguarding measures and urged thorough reassessment. So a United Nations official has launched this attack against the bill and has suggested that the SNP's mooted policies could pose a severe danger to women. Reem Asylum, the UN's Special Rapporteur on V against women and girls, penned a 4,500-word letter to the UK government urging a thorough assessment of the proposed legislation, which she described as unfair, rushed, vague and contradictory in its current form. These are all the things that we have said from day one about these laws. These are being rushed in because of their single-minded obsession. There's no thought. There's been no discussion. They haven't heard evidence from all sides. They're pushing this through. For some reason, this is forefront in their minds to such an extent that even the United Nations recognise the absolute danger this poses to women and girls in Scotland. Ms. Asylum also raised concerns over safeguarding measures and the potential misuse of the bill's procedure on self-identification, which could be abused by S-Preds and other perpetrators of V. In a letter, she wrote, such proposals would potentially open the door for V males who identify as men to abuse the process of acquiring a GRC and the rights associated with it. And this presents potential risks to the safety of women in all their diversity. Let me explain, this doesn't present a potential risk. We've done the stories, we've seen the evidence. This actually is an actual and real risk. We have seen what is happening. We have seen these men pretending to be women getting into safe spaces, getting into DV units, using and harming women. The Scottish Government does not provide for any safeguarding measures to ensure that the procedure is not, as far as can be reasonably assured, used by SPs and other perpetrators of V, and these include access to both single-sex spaces and gender-based spaces. So the UN's Special Rapporteur is saying that this bill does not in any way, shape or form protect women, and it is actually dangerous to women. The Gender Recognition Reform Bill will remove the requirement for a medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria, which is an incredibly rare thing. But they want to get rid of the medical diagnosis because it's so rare, because they know that 99% of these weird people who have this fetish to dress up in women's clothing aren't gender dysphoric. They're merely paraphiliacs with a woman face fetish. That's all they are. Mentally ill, but not gender dysphoric. Anyway, this is also while reducing the length of time that an applicant must live with the required gender from 2 years to 3 months. In other words, we want it to be almost instantaneous. We don't want you to have 2 years to think about it and to see the full ramifications. We want you to suddenly think, yeah, you know what, I'll become a girl today, and then bang, you're a girl immediately, simply because that allows you then access into women's safe spaces where children are, which is part of the SNP's policy on normalising P. Set to be enacted by Christmas, the new laws aim to simplify the process by which a transgender person can switch gender through self-identification. Or any person. You don't have to be transgender. You can simply do it for a laugh. Or to avoid prison sentencing so that you can go into a ladies' prison. Oh my God, I don't want to go in there. I think I'll become a lady. Become a lady, go to a ladies' prison, have the whale of a time, maybe get, locked in a cell with a vulnerable woman or something. The sort of thing that is happening now. The sort of thing where men are being locked up with vulnerable women in Scotland right now. It also lowers the age limit to gender reform from 18 to 16. And the United Nations itself recognises 18 as the year of majority, the age of majority, should I say, which means that they are allowing, under international law, children to do this. They're allowing this that children can decide for themselves. In Scotland, you cannot change subjects at school without parental consent, and yet you can change your gender or sex without, and that is why. Why is it 16? Because if it's 16 now, it'll be 14, it'll be 12. Eventually, every little boy will become a little girl, and every grown man will be going into spaces, with these little boys dressed as little girls. And you're telling me it's got nothing to do with any kind of sexuality or wanderlust, the P. It's absolutely all the P. Feminist groups have been backed by high-profile campaigners, including Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. God bless her. I did a video about her. I will put the link to this video, the J.K. Rowling video, at the back of this one. I would ask that you do watch it, because an LGBTQP, whatever you want to add all the other letters on, writer spent 3 months looking for J.K. Rowling, the evidence against J.K. Rowling and her trans, her dislike for trans people, any kind of phobia or istophobe and things like that. And after 3 months of searching, found nothing, and has actually now have gone from a position where she was anti-J.K. to pro-J.K. It's a fantastic transformation, a road to Damascus, revelation, really. But anyway, have a look at that video. Anyway, J.K. Rowling has raised concerns that the change in the law could put women and girls at risk. Will, without doubt, put women and girls at risk. There's Reem Asylum, the Special Rapporteur. She's the one who said that Sturgeon and the SNP's drive to harm women is a terrible thing and should stop. And there she is, the fat, pie-eating, smug, evil dwarf of doom. Anyway, Miss Asylum's devastating letter revealed the Scottish Government was already found to be in breach of the UN's Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women protocol. So the UN have got this convention about not harming women, not doing women harm, and Scotland's government is already in breach of it before it enacts this law. What is wrong with these people in Holyrood? Anyway, Holyrood was also warned that they could be breaching the Equality Act should women from different religious or ethnic backgrounds feel excluded as a consequence of radical gender reform. She doesn't care. She doesn't care how many laws she breaks, so long as she can push this sick agenda. J.K. Rowling and Nicola Sturgeon were locked in a public war of words this year over the author's ardent opposition to proposed legislation. I think there's room here for a big match. Get a boxing ring. Let's see that. I'd love to see that. God almighty, I'd love to see that. Ms Rowling is opposed to the Scottish Government's plan because Ms Rowling is a normal human being with compassion and who cares deeply about the safety of women and children. Whereas Sturgeon doesn't give one flying bollock about the safety of women and children. Anyway, she's fighting this. She's against the plan to make it easier for individuals as young as 16, i.e. children, to change legal gender with no requirement for medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria. This bill wouldn't be half as bad if the medical diagnosis part of that remained. because gender dysphoria is so amazingly rare, as I have said. Meanwhile, Ms Sturgeon said the aim is to make the existing process less degrading, intrusive and traumatic, but the Harry Potter author has argued the law would harm vulnerable women, and not just vulnerable women. And there she is, the blessed JK. God bless you, miss. We love you. This channel supports you in every way. You and all the others, Maya Forstater, Kathleen Stock, you name it, we support them in their constant fight against cancellation and their constant fight against the harming of women. It goes on a bit more. I'm not going to go. It's covering ground we've already done, just talking about the bill. So I'll end it there. I'll come up and we'll round off. So how bad do you have to be? How appallingly awful must your laws be, where not only are you already breaking the law, 2 laws, you're about to breach a United Nations Convention on the safety of women and girls. Your own people are telling you, the opposition parties in your own country are telling you, other countries are telling you, and now international organisations are telling you how bad this is. And you're still pushing on with single-minded obsession. What is wrong with Nicola Sturgeon? Something is deeply troubled in her soul, that she is ignoring everyone, everything, every piece of evidence. She sees already what's happening on the ground with her policies and is still pushing on with it. The safety of women and girls in Scotland is not important to her. What's important is the pushing of this perverted agenda. She is absolutely enabling the easing of pee, one salami slice at a time. She is pushing for the most evil people, the most awful people, to be legitimised and normalised so that they can have access to your children. This is the only thing that explains what's going on in her mind. If there's another reason, she can feel free to explain it. But she needs to explain why she thinks the safety of women and girls in Scotland is so unimportant and why she feels free to break international law. I shall stop now because my thoughts on that woman would get me banned from YouTube. So thanks very much for listening. If you like what you hear and see on the channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell for notifications for future output. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, avoid Nicola Sturgeon like the plague, and goodbye.